First and foremost, all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kaha Kodash. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, which means He to be. He exists, the existing one. Bahashem is in the name Yahushai, His only begotten Savior Son, who the world ignorantly calls Lord and Jesus Christ. His name is Yahushai, which means He deliverer, He Savior. Rakha Kodash is Spirit Holy. These are the powers that we serve, these are the powers that we come in the name of. That being said, this is a quick one entitled Current Events Prove the Lord is Coming, Luke 21 and 11. We're going to get the scripture, but first I'm going to read the current event, right? This is from our webpage here. It says the preceding media shower peaks tomorrow alongside the total solar eclipse. Here's how to see it. It says sky gazers are in for a treat on the 12th of August as one of the most spectacular meteor showers coincides with a total solar eclipse, right? You know, says this article is part of a special report on the total solar eclipse that will offer the best views from the Arctic Circle, Iceland, Spain, and parts of Portugal on August 12, 2026. Now, today's the Wednesday, August the 12th, right? So at different times, you're supposed to be able to see it, right? In one article I read, it was in particular between the hours of 2 and 5, or was it 2 and 3? Let me see. There's no audio. At between 1 to 5 a.m. Right? Between 1 to 5 a.m. Right? So we come back here. It says stargazers are in for a treat on August the 12th as one of the most spectacular meteor shower coincides with a total lunar eclipse. Right? So you have two phenomena happening, right? And they're saying stargazers are in for a treat. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2. It says, thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Right? The heathen are dismayed at them. You were dismayed.
Strong's H 2865. Chathath.
To be shattered, to be dismayed, to be broken, to be abolished, to be afraid. Right? To be terrified or shattered. Strong's definition. Prostrate, hence to break down, either literally or by violence, figuratively by confusion and fear. Abolish, affright. B. Make afraid, amaze, beat down, discourage, cause to dismay, go down, scare, terrify. Why are they terrified? Because the prognosticators right? Isaiah 47 and verse 10, verse 8, verse 9. right? But basically, the title is Lament for Babylon. I can read from verse 1, right? Because now is the end. It's an end time. This is Luke 21 and 11. Matter of fact, so like I was supposed to get that precept right after I read. I don't have to go deep into the article. It's just that there's a phenomenon in the sky, right? What they call a meteor showers, right? And it's alongside what solar eclipse, right? These are biblical prophecies, end time prophecies, right? Which chat agrees that we're in the end times. And I hear brother say it, and probably apostle say it first. That chat is a member of Great Millstone. Chat has the breakdowns. Chat is a prophet. Luke 21 and 11, great earthquakes, things to come, Luke 21 and 10. Then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Right, yeah. You're seeing that. You're seeing that playing off Trump and the US, America, the beast going up against many nations all over the world. Right, particularly right now in the Middle East, in the East, right, up against Iran, right, and those are Iran, Turkey, and Pakistan. Those nations are Muslim nations, right, and those nations are forming a confederacy alongside with Gog, modern day Russia, with China, Moab, Korea, the Moabites, right? And all those nations have weaponry that is able to stand up and fight against the Americans, right? As thou become as weak as we. This is what we see. We see in the build-up of the Third World War. A lot of prophetic things are happening in the daily news that the everyday man pay no attention to. They go about their life, playing sports, being wicked, some being righteous, right? In their own way, but the elect going to be saved. Things to come, Luke 21 and 10. Then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilence, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. Right? And great signs shall there be from heaven. Right? What's a great sign? The Persidi media shower peaks with tomorrow. That would have been yesterday. Today is now the 12th, alongside total solar eclipse. Right? Ask chat, say chat. How does Great Millstone break down Matthew 24, 29 to 31? If you mean by Great Millstone, if by Great Millstone you mean Great Millstone / Hebrew Israelite teaching commonly associated with that camp, their breakdown of Matthew 24, 29, and 31 is generally understood as a literal end times prophecy concerning the return of Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Even in the name they have correct on chat. Following the period of great tribulation, right? Jacob's trouble. I would separate that what the passage itself says from Great Millstone's interpretation, because that helps you test the doctrine against the rest of the scripture. So even Great Millstone is being in the spirit, prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. Matthew 24, 29, immediately after the tribulation, Jacob's trouble, of those days shall the sun be darkened and the moon shall not give her light. What's going to cause that? What? The missiles going off, right? The missiles going off. And the stars shall fall from heaven and the powers of heaven shall be shaken, right? So that's also going into the rulership of the present. It is given into the hands of the wicked, right? They're going to be shaken. The wicked are going to be shaken.
Strong's G 4531. Saluo. Saluo.
Outline of biblical usage: emotion produced by winds, storms, waves, etc., to agitate, to shake, to cause the tutter, to shake thoroughly, of a measure filled by shaking its contents together, to shake down, to overthrow, right? They're going to be overthrown, to cast down from one secure and happy state, right? So that's why we knew America can never be great again, because this is the casting down of the Edomites. The Edomites given into the hands of the wicked. Job 9 and 24, right? You know you're being cast down from your state, your happy state, your secure state, where you press and kill Jake, right? You put Jake to death at your pleasure. It's the book of Jeremiah chapter 50. Right? If you're following, you understand that after the tribulation, because Jacob's trouble is going to be the build-up of simultaneously it's going to have WW3 taking place, right? But the climax of WW3 is when the missiles hit. Right now we're in WW3, and we're in the beginning of Jacob's trouble. All right, the trouble has already begun, but the climax of the trouble coming in is when the enemy coming in like a flood, the persecution of the saints, the elect, right? Also the mandatory passing of the MOTB, right? The mandatory passing of the MOTB, which is what the RFID microchip, where this devil is going to try to implant his device, his enterprise and his device underneath the skin or in the hands or in the head of all human beings, because he believes that that is the way that he can attain godhood, right? This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 40. It says Jeremiah 50 and 40, as power overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, right? There was 5 cities destroyed: Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zoar, Bema, and Zoar, right? So shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein, right? So the Lord is describing the second death, because the first death was what? The flood. The second death is going to be by the fire. The flood was of the water, which is all spiritual when they analyze it. The water and the fire represent the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, right? The spirit of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And then what is a spirit that tries you, right? It tries you. The scripture, it says in Jeremiah 23, is it 23 or 21? Let me get out real quick. I'll come back here. Jeremiah 23 and 29. It says, "Is not my word like as a fire, saith the Lord, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces?" Right? So the word is like a fire, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces. So the word hammer here is patesh.
Strong's H 6360. Patish. Patish.
Forge hammer. Strong's definition: intensively from an unused root, meaning to pound a hammer. So the word is actually going to form you into that new image, right? The image of Yahushai. We are going to be, the elect going to be conformed to the image of Yahushai, okay? Through the word. So the 4th chapter tells you that first you're going to try you through the crooked ways, and then after she's going to reveal her secrets unto you. That is the wisdom, right? Through the Ruach HaKodesh. Jeremiah 50 and 40. As power overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein, right? Meaning that land, America, 50 states. All right, let me see what square miles. How many square miles is America? America is 3.79 million square miles, about 9.83 million square kilometers. This includes all 50 states, the Federal District of Washington, D.C., and inland waters. You see? Everything is going to be what? Burnt up. Jeremiah 15:41. A people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. Verse 42. They shall not hold the bow and the lance. Sorry, they shall hold the bow and the lance, representing the missiles. Right? They have a missile called the javelin missile. Right? That's like a lance. Phineas used a javelin to pierce through one of the rebellious Israelites and his heathen wife. All right. Let me see. A long weapon lance, a long weapon for thrusting, having a modern shaft and a pointed steel head, formerly used by horsemen in charging, right? So you think about it, it's like a spear. That it basically is describing what a missile gonna look like, right? From the perspective of the prophet Jeremiah, right? What he would have known as what a lance. It reminds me of the movie The Dictator with Sacha Baron Cohen or something like that. That faggot, right? I think he's a small hat. Yeah, he's also known as acting as Borat, right? And you see that the missiles has to be pointed to the top, and the nuclear scientists ask him where he get that image from. If it's not from cartoons, right? But even in scriptures, the missiles is described as a lance, a weapon resembling a lance used as a hunting fish or whales. Another term for lancer, sense one of the noun. A metal pipe supplying a jet of oxygen to furnace or to a hot flame for cutting. A rigid tube at the end of a hose for pumping or spraying liquid. Think about like at the gas pump, the nozzle. Right? So you get the point here with the lance. It says, they shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one put in array like a man to the battle against the daughter of Babylon. So that's what you're talking about, the missiles being shut off here. Right? The missiles being shut off here. This is describing biblical end times prophecy when the missiles are going to be shut off. Right? So you talk about the lance being as the weapon that the horseman will have, right? When they're charging. Right? So this is how the comparison comes in here, right? It says Revelation 9 and 17. Sorry, 9 and 16. It says, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them, right? You see how it's tying in to the Ruach HaKodesh, right? You look up words, and the words bring out the words bring out the meaning, and the synonyms make it more clear, right? And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. So these are the missiles, right? Not all of them going to be literally shut off. So some of them are going to fall upon the stones and the rocks, as the scripture says, which is other missiles in the silos in the ground, and they're going to explode and do the work, right? So 200,000 thousands equate to 2 million. So 200,000 real quick. 200,000 is what other figure? 200 million is written as 200,000. Let us understand about the million, 2 million, right? So 200 million, that is followed by 8 zeros, right? So it's over 1 million missiles. Back to the point, Revelation chapter 9. It says, verse 17, and thus I saw horses in a vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, right? Meaning that they had power. They had power because the power of the lion is in the jaw. The strongest part of the lion is in the jaw. They have power in the paws too. They have a meme where there's not even a meme, is like this photographer was steady and he's steady trying to get the perfect shot of an animal, and a lion crawled straight up on him. And he stood there, he lied there still, but the lion hit him a proper paw and stand up on top of him. They never showed the end of it, but I sure it wasn't good. It says, the heads of the horses were as the heads of the lions, and out of their mouths issue fire and smoke and brimstone, right? Because the heads represent the warhead. Like the Moabites boasting in their pride right now, they have 60 plus 1, right? They have like 60 warheads and 60 nuclear warheads and 1 hydrogen. So they combine the destruction, right, to get a different effect, right? The 60 plus 1 missile. Right, they say no, 60 plus 1 is not a single missile. It references a viral social media rumor that the military commentary about a theoretical or misunderstood intercontinental ballistic missile ICBM design. And this is off of Facebook. Wikipedia talk about the Dongfeng 61, simplified Chinese East Wind. Scripture talks about an East Wind. Is an intercontinental ballistic missile developed by the People's Republic of China. It is likely nuclear armed and may be a variant or successor of the Dongfeng 41. The Dongfeng 61 is a road mobile missile and is likely nuclear armed. The transporter erector launcher is seemingly identical to the one used by the Dongfeng 41. The Dongfeng 61 may be a variant or successor of the Dongfeng 41. I read that before. Reported ranges include 7,500 miles, 12,100 kilometers, similar to the Dongfeng 41, and the 1,800 kilometers, 11,000 miles. Right? Let's see what the Facebook are. The single Chinese missile, Dongfeng 61, can carry 60 nuclear warheads and 1 hydrogen bomb. It has the speed of Mach 55. It can destroy any target in the world within 20 minutes. America is history. China is the future. Pakistan's are easiest to fool with any IQ. Salakia. I was reading this. I didn't realize it was not on the screen. It says no 60+1 is not a single missile in reference to the viral social media rumor. A military commentary about the theoretical or misunderstood intercontinental ballistic missile ICBM design. The phrase stems from claims about a multi-warhead configuration alleging a missile carrying 60 nuclear warheads plus one hydrogen bomb, sometimes dubbed as the Dongfeng 61. Real military technology does not place 60 separate warheads and a separate hydrogen bomb on a single missile. Existing high-capacity missiles like China's Dongfeng 41 use MIRV technology to carry around 10 independent warheads and standard math equals 61 separate payloads rather than a single unified weapon. Revelation 9 and 17. And as I saw the horses in the vision, right? And them that sat on them having breastplates of fire and of jacinth, right? Just going back to the lance, right? The lance. Right? This is just normal Google. A long spear-like weapon used by knights on horses, right? So the knights will have the lances, these like spears, and charge one another, right? A spear weapon on tools, spear fishing, oxygen tool, right? That's why Bodoi, as we say in Trinidad, Bodoi, as I say in Trinidad, a horseman on a horse with a lance, right? So this is where the analogy comes from, that imagery, right? This imagery right here. That's the imagery right there, right? It says, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and of brimstone, and the heads of the horses was the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these three were the third parts of men killed. Who's the third part of men? Before time there were three. Before time, right, it was known as the sons of God, the Israelites, the sons of men, the heathen, and the wicked, right? They are the third part of men. Now they are known as Esau and Edom. That's the third part. They're known as Esau and Edom, the wicked. Right? By these three was the third part of men killed by the fire. This is how Esau is going to be destroyed by fire and by smoke and by brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails, and their tails were like unto serpents and had heads. And with them they do hurt. So the tail has a rocket. Right, the tail of the lance has a rocket, in other words, and the rocket, right? Yes, sir. Right? That's like the smoke trails of 4 missiles. Right? Tend to look like how a serpent would slither through the sand. Right? Simple as that. Right? Their power is in their mouth and in their tails. That's where the power is. The rocket to lift off to take it from one end of the earth to the other. Right? And the destruction is in the head or the mouth of the missile or the javelin. Right? Come back to Jeremiah real quick. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 42. They shall hold the bow and the lance, they are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one put in array, like a man to the battle against thee, O Babylon. And the king of Babylon had heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble, anguish took hold of him, and pangs as of a woman in travail. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan, and the habitation unto the habitation of the strong. Who's that? He, Yahweh Shai. Right? You're gonna put in that work. Isaiah the 63rd chapter tells you about that. Right? You're gonna cause a lot of debt. The debt is gonna be on his garment, and as high as the horse's bridle. The blood, sorry. I think I said that. I think the blood is gonna be upon his garment, and as high as the horse's bridle. I will make them suddenly run away from her. And who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her? For who is like me, and who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Right, so the king of Babylon heard the report. So going back to it, it says the prognosticators, right? The monthly prognosticators. Look at that word up. Right? Matthew 24:29, it says that the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Right? They're going to be shaken. So Trump is shaking, the elites are shaking, the bankers are shaking, they go into the prognosticators and they're showing them that, only destruction is in our future. All right? Isaiah 41:10. Let me go down to the point. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness and said, none seeth me, thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Right? So they're going ahead with the wicked agenda to what? Microsoft keep everybody put down all rebellion and have everybody in submission, have everybody yielding, right, to their way. True. In the beginning, coercing, enticing. Yeah, the MOTB is a cool way to open your doors, right, to secure your identity from identity theft and spoiling all your bank accounts for convenience, right, for security and banking, and ultimately it's going to be for your soul. But then because they're going to make it mandatory, a mandatory thing. When you do that, you yield up your spirit unto the devil. And if you're an Israelite, that's your condemnation is sin. That means you're worshiping another God. You believe that the way of life is through that other God's image, through his likeness. He wants you to be in his likeness, which is a likeness of technocracy. Man merged with machine, cyborg. That's what he wants you to be. Filled with nanobots and nanotechnology. Right? Super soldier type of shit that they see in the cartoon and them weirdo shows that they have. There's not despotic. I forget the word. Dystopic future. Stand now with thine enchantments and with thy multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. You see, they have this thing, their system, this, like you have Yuval Harari and Klaus Schwab, right? Talking about the systems of the earth being no good, right? Since this devil has been in rulership, his whole modem uh, modus apparatus, how you say it? His whole MO or ME, basically his whole heart desire is what? Seek to slay Jacob, going back to Genesis, the 27th chapter, right? After the days of mourning, right? That's from there, you. After the days of mourning for my father, then will I seek to slay my brother Jacob. So this thing has been put into, is a plan that has been put into place over many generations. This devil know that he is the left hand of the Most High. He know who is the right hand of the Most High. All right, who was the chosen, blessed people. He kept us in submission. He worked he did his science. He proved and tested that we are the people and that there's a power. His name is Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? He has the history, he has the records, he has everything, he has the knowledge, but yet still he's in rebellion. So he had a lot of time to make this plan, and now initiated. I remember watching the video where one of the where it was said that one of the elite women said it's time for the great culling. Right? Time for the great culling. What does that mean? Define culling. Cullen is an Irish and Gaelic surname and given name. Holy Tree, Young Bong, culling, the act or process of selecting and removing desirable or undesirable individuals from a group. Reducing farm exposure to the bacteria will require more rigorous testing and culling of infected animals. Right? So it's to cut off the desirable or undesirables from a group. So like, yeah, then put it up. Culling.
Culling.
All right. Amos 1 and 11. In the KJV, it reads, and the words of Amos, who was among the herdsmen of Tekoa. Sorry, this is 1 and 1. We're going to get 1 and 11. Thus say the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof. Because he did pursue his brother with a sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. But I will send fire upon Teman, which shall devour the palaces of Bozrah. All right? Teman representing the modern day Germans, right? Bozrah is going to define it. Sheepfold or fortress, a tongue in Edom, a tongue in Moab, a tongue in Edom, right? Bronze Driver, Briggs Lexicon, a city of Edom, a fortress. Right? Jeremiah 49 and 13. I have sworn by myself, say the Lord, that Bozrah shall become a desolation, a reproach and a waste and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual desolate. All the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste. Right? 50 states. 50 states and its lakes. Right? 50 states and his lakes. Oh, I should have renamed the video that 50 states and his lakes. Jeremiah 49 and 13. Just read that. 14. I heard a rumor from the Lord, an ambassador is sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together and come against her and rise up to the battle. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. Right? Trump today was not today, but over the past few days, right, saying basically gonna rock back on the Iranian thing. Small, Catan, young, insignificant, or unimportant, and this how the heathen watching at the President of the United States and the Edomites right now with hate and also with disdain as they are unimportant, right? Diminutive, literally, quantity or size and number figuratively. Trump wants to persecute anybody who is broadcasting the figures of their arsenal, which is what diminutive at the moment, and it's going to take at least 5 years for them to get it up. At least 5 years, according to what the records state. Jeremiah 49 and 17. Also, Edom shall be a desolation, and everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. What's the plagues the missiles are going to hit? 200 million of them. As in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, this is Jeremiah 49 chapter. It's also equating the destruction of Babylon to be as one likened unto the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, which was by fire and brimstone. Fire and brimstone is encapsulated in what? A javelin now, a missile. As in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, say the Lord, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan against the habitation of the strong. Right? Who is strong? Esau is strong. Who is weak? Jacob is weak. Right? But I will suddenly make him run away from her. And who is he? Who is that? So this is echoed in Jeremiah the 50th chapter we read earlier on. Verse 20, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he had taken against Edom, and his purpose that he had purposed against the habitation of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. So missile's going to hit, right, with the Temanites now. As I said, the Germans, that's what the Germans, the wisest of, like the wisest tribe of the Edomites, they were the Germans, right? But let's go into also, when it says the least of the flock shall draw them out, going into the small huts across in our land, imitating us, right? Over there, going to receive some missiles as well, because that land needs to be cleansed. There are a lot of abominable works being done in that land, including the shedding of innocent blood, right? Jeremiah 49 and 21, the earth is moved at the noise of their fall, right? Why? Because earthquakes, you had that earthquake in Colombia. Before that, you had the big earthquake in you had an earthquake in the Middle East, I think it was the Philippines. You had an earthquake in the Middle East after the earthquake in Venezuela. In the East, not in the Middle East, in the East. I can't remember if it was the Philippines or one of the other Asian tribes, right? But they had earthquakes going on across there. Behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle and spread his wings over Bozrah. And at that day, so in other words, the Lord going to come as a predator, right? A predatorial bird. The predatorial bird. Esau is also described as an eagle, and Jacob is the prey. But the Lord is going to come as the predator, and Esau is going to be the prey. That's why the scripture says, wait ye upon me until I rise up against the prey. So the role is going to be reversed, trading of places. Be as the heart, and the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. Right? I had more in chat. Matthew 24. Matthew 24 and 29, right? Great Millstone's basic understanding is that this describes a cataclysmic signs immediately preceding the return of Hamashiach. They commonly connect this with Isaiah the 13th chapter 9 and 10 verse. So I'll just read it off screen. It says, Isaiah 13 and 9 in KJV, behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel with both wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Right? So the Lord is going to take down Esau and Edom in their pride. The pride they're going to cease because they're not going to be a God in the day that true power returns. Right? Really quick, the next one is Joel 2. I was saying at the beginning, this is going to be a quick lesson. Spirit in charge. It wasn't so quick after all. All right, so Joel, the 2nd chapter and the 30th verse. And I will shew wonders in heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. Right, so you have the solar eclipse alongside with the how we pronounce that word again? Let's leave it as the meteor shower. Can't remember how to pronounce it. Pretty scene. Meteor shower today. Persidi. PRSE. All right, this is what I can do.
Now, before we get to the eclipse, there's another celestial event to see. The sky will be lighting up tonight, and you won't want to miss the annual Perseid meteor shower as it returns to the northern hemisphere, as it does every August. The best viewing is expected late tonight into early tomorrow morning. And this year, there's a bonus. A new moon will keep the sky nice and dark, not going to filter out too many of those meteors, making the shooting star.
Did you hear that? A new moon will keep the skies nice and dark. It's not going to filter out any light.
Meteors, making the shooting stars easier to see. We talked with Bill Cook, who leads not going to filter out too many of those meteors. We'll keep the sky nice and dark, not going to filter late tonight into early tomorrow morning. And this year, there's a bonus. A new moon will keep the sky nice and dark. late tonight into early tomorrow morning. And this year, there's a bonus. A new moon will keep the sky nice and dark. Now,
You hear that, Nate? A new moon will keep the skies nice and dark. Cut. That is when you should drop your song by. Joel 3 and 15. Joel, the 3rd chapter and the 15th verse. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. You hear that as well? All those who want to inject the other tribes. Revelation 6:12-14, the sixth seal, where the sun becomes black and the moon becomes like blood and heavens are shaken. The important phrase is immediately after the tribulation, meaning Jacob's tribulation, Jacob's trouble. Tribulation, heavenly signs, appearance of a Mashiach. Heavenly signs will be when the missiles in the sky, right? Because it's going to be simultaneous. The Lord is going to come and deliver the elect before the missiles touch down. That is significant because it does not naturally read that the Mashiach returned before the tribulation, Matthew 24:30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Great wisdom would understand this as a visible return of a Mashiach. The tribulation occurs, the cosmic sign occurs, the sign of the Son of Man appears, the people of the earth see him coming. He comes with power and great glory. This is important because the verse says they shall see him. Revelation 1:7, behold, he cometh with clouds, the chariots, and every eye shall see him. Luke also says as lightning that falleth out of that cometh out of one end of the heaven. Right? It's because it actually warns against the deception. Right? When it says that men shall say he's low here or low there. Right? Don't be deceived. Luke 21:25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth the stress of nations and men, the stress of nations with perplexity in the seas and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear and looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with great power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Acts 1 and 9 to 11, and the angels tell the disciples that Yahushua will return the same general manner in which they saw him depart. So the great millstone interpretation emphasizes that it isn't merely an invisible spiritual event. Matthew 24 and 27. For as lightning coming out of the east and shining even unto the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. The eagles is a predatory bird, right? So Yahushua coming to the prey, right? As you read earlier on, he's gonna come as an eagle, as in Jeremiah, I think it was the 49th chapter. He's gonna come as an eagle, right? So the same word being used to describe the wicked and the righteous. What is the characteristic of the bird? As a predator. Come back to chat. But there's an important distinction. Great Millstone's interpretation goes further than simply saying a Mashiach returns after the tribulation. They also connect this passage to their understanding of Israelite salvation. The elect, I'm going to put it, they also connect the passage to the true understanding of Israelite salvation, the elect, the kingdom, and the end time deliverance of Israel. However, you should test each of those conclusions separately. For example, 1 Thessalonians 4:16 to 17 says, For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God. That sounds remarkably similar to Matthew 24 and 31. Angels and great trumpet gathering, 1 Thessalonians 4:16 to 17. Trumpet believers caught up. An archangel plus trumpet plus believers caught up. And 1 Corinthians 15:51 to 52 also speaks about the resurrection happening at the last trump. So there is a strong biblical case for connecting these passages to the same general end time event. Although Christians disagree about precisely how the event relate chronologically. One thing Great Millstone gets right to emphasize the words immediately after the tribulation should not simply be ignored. Yahushua did not say before the tribulation I will gather my elect. He explicitly placed gathering in the sequence after the tribulation. That is one of the strongest observations you can make directly from Matthew 24 itself. Right? And as a key point here, we observe. Right? We observe because what we meditate on the scriptures. If you want, blah blah blah, right? So with that, I pray the lesson was edifying. I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Kakodash, double honor to apostles and elect. Our only focus and plan is risking their lives to do so. Shalom. Abakariam.